with the title Career Inspirational, which held by Binus University together with CPA Australia. I want to inform all students to change your name with the format name, strip name, and for lecturer, please change your name with lecturer code, strip lecturer name. Before we start this seminar session, let's take a pray for a while. I'll pray in Catholic, and everyone can pray with your own belief. Dear Father in heaven, thank you for gathering us today so that we can do this seminar. We hope everything is going well until the end of the session, and hopefully it will provide us insights that will be useful for us in the future. Amen. Now, let me introduce Miss Angswatlin Lindawati, SE, MCom, PhD, CSRS, CSRA, CMA, as Head of Department of Accounting, Binus University. To Miss Lindawati, the time is yours. Now, let me introduce Miss Angswatlin Lindawati, SE, MCom, PhD, CSRS, CSRA, CMA, as Head of Department of Accounting, Binus University. To Miss Lindawati, the time is yours. To Miss Lindawati, now you can give your opening words.
Okay, okay, good morning. Sorry, because I have a trouble with my laptop and my Wi-Fi. So I use my mobile phone, but I try to use my laptop first. Just wait a second. Just wait a second, please. Okay, good morning. Sorry, because I have a trouble laptop and my still have a problem. I use my okay. I'm sorry because I have a problem with my laptop, so I cannot open. Oh no. Now I have a trouble again. Okay. Then still have a problem. Okay. One second, please. I try to use my laptop. So I have time to make a welcoming speech. Okay. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning for distinguished speaker. Okay, good morning, distinguished speakers, moderator, and our beloved faculty member and student of accounting and finance.
Maaf Ibu, sepertinya suara Ibu masih mute.
I'm sorry, Miss Bu Linda. I think your microphone is still on mute, Miss.
Oh, I have a trouble. Today is not very luck for me to make a speak for welcoming. Okay, I will try again. Still mute. Okay, sorry. Good morning, distinguished speaker, moderator, and our beloved faculty members and students of accounting and finance. Thank you to each and every one of you for being here today at this wonderful seminar. My name is Lindawati. As a head of Department Accounting Program, it is a such honor for me to give a welcoming speak in this international seminar. Let me begin by giving you warm welcome to the Career Aspiration Seminar. Before we get started, I would like to express my appreciation to the CPA Australia, Ms. Dania Pratiwi, who generously helped us make this seminar come true. We could not have done it without you. In today's seminar, we would learn how to build career strategies through your career aspiration. A career strategist is any behavior, an activity or experience designed to help a person meet career goals. A career strategist represents conscious choice by an individual as to the type of investment he or she is willing to make in attempting to reach career objective. As a result, every people should understand to build their career strategies through their career aspiration. The career aspiration is the way to make your career dream will come true and realizes it. Career aspiration being able to gain new skill set that are applicable to future career opportunities. I hope that this seminar will help you build your career aspirational. So, well, I do not want
Now we will also hear the opening words from Mr. Reza Hafiz as the country manager and chief representative of CPA Australia. To Mr. Reza, now the time is yours.
Thank you, Jonathan. A very good morning to all audience and also fellow Binusian. I've experienced working for Binusian back in 2014, if I'm mistaken. As part of the international office back then. So it is an honor to host this session. It is a great collaboration. Again, this is another collaboration between BINUS and CP Australia. I'm honored to deliver this opening remark. Before I start, I would like to say a very warm welcome and thank you to Ibu Lindawati and then Pak Edward and also the rest of the Binusian team, especially the students, my team, Dania, resource speakers, Mr. Yanuar, and also Mrs. Larasati, Lutfiana Larasati, and last but not least, our handsome MC, Jonathan. You done a good job, Jonathan. And also for the rest of the students, very warm welcome. Hope you guys are still healthy and stay well, still sharp with the accounting with your accounting skills. And today's session is really remarking our main collaboration between two institutions. While I say that because like we treat BINUS as our strategic partners, and aside from that, we also learn a lot from BINUS from fellow academicians and also from students from BINUS. So as part of SP Australia, we here in Indonesia not only to deliver or to run the program of international certification or professional certification, but at the same time, we also nurture the students, scholars, and also the rest of the nation on how the importance of having a professional certification for accounting, and also at the same time, pushing the accounting profession to be more acknowledgeable in Indonesia. So this today's session is really interest me more because like not only the two resource speakers will share about their experience in terms of their careers, but they also will be sharing their hints and tips on how to obtain more from your certification, but also at the same time you push forward for yourself in a bigger organization. So without further ado, I would like to hand over the session back to the MC. Again, thank you very much for the opportunity. It is a great honor for us, CP Australia, to host, to be part of this session. All the best for all students. Please stay over until the end of the session, ask a lot of questions, and then thank you again, Pak Edward, Bu Lindawati, and the rest of the faculty members of BINUS. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Ms. Reza, for the opening words. And the seminar session will be moderated by Ms. Henny Kurniawati, and I will read Ms. Henny Kurniawati's brief summary. Ms. Henny Kurniawati earned her bachelor degree in accounting from Sekolah Tinggi Akuntansi Negara Indonesia in 2000, got her master degree in accounting from University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign in 2003. She received her PhD in 2018 from Ghent University, Belgium. Her doctoral program was supported by the Indonesia Endowment Fund for Education, or also known as LPDP Indonesia, and the Hercules Foundation. She has been working at Badan Pemeriksa Keuangan Republik Indonesia, or Indonesia Supreme Audit Board, as an auditor for almost 7 years before she found her way back to academia in 2010 as a lecturer at the Faculty of Economics of Bina Nusantara University in Jakarta, Indonesia, where she teaches courses in accounting, auditing, and research methodology. Her research interests includes corporate governance, corporate reporting, and taxation, and has been published in international journals like International Journal of Auditing and Managerial Auditing Journal. Now, Ms. Henny Kurniawati will guide this seminar session. To Ms. Henny, now the time is yours.
Thank you, Jonathan, for the introduction. Hello, students and colleagues. Also, our guests from CPA Australia, Pak Reza Hafiz, Pak Putra Idealis, Bu Dania, and of course, our speakers. I would like to welcome all of you in this seminar, and I hope you all safe and healthy. I'll be your guide to the seminar today. We will have two interesting speakers today that will share with us their experience and their journey throughout their career. They will share with you what opportunities there for accountants in this technology era, what should you prepare for your future career, and how professional certificate can help you shape your professional life. To make everything smooth, let me explain to you what we are going to have in our agenda today. First, we will listen to the presentations of our speakers. Each speaker will have about 20 up to 30 minutes. Then before Q&A questions, Ibu Dania from CPA Australia will give brief introduction to what is CPA Australia. Next, we will have a Q&A questions. In this Q&A questions, you may ask questions from the beginning of the presentation via a chat box, either in Zoom meeting or we have also YouTube streaming. But we will have your questions answered in this Q&A session after the presentations. Since we have limited time, the committee member will help me to sort out the questions, and perhaps if there is enough space, we will ask you to directly ask the questions to the speakers. When the opportunity comes to you, please do not forget to briefly introduce your name, to whom your questions need to be addressed, and what your questions is. Okay, before the presentations begins, allow me to introduce our speakers. The first speaker is Pak Yanuar Tejawijaya, Eskom, MIB, CPA Australia, and CA Indonesia. He is Associate Director in PT Deloitte Advice Indonesia, Financial Advisory. Pak Yanuar has more than 11 years of experience in the field of merger and acquisition for PT Deloitte Advice Indonesia, which before we call it Deloitte Consultant Indonesia. Pak Yanuar started his career in Deloitte Consultant Indonesia, which then became Deloitte Advice Indonesia, which is also known as Deloitte Global, as a financial consultant that gives advice related to financial, business, accounting, and business strategic, including merger and acquisition. He has 11 years of experience up to now. Due to his excellent career in Deloitte, he received various opportunities to participate in Deloitte Southeast Asia Joint Project, to do some assignments with reputable clients, and also global assignments within Global Mobility Program with Deloitte's office in Tokyo, Japan, to provide services to Japanese clients regarding merger and acquisition project in Southeast Asia, Indonesia, America, and Europe. Sorry. Pak Yanuar received his Bachelor of Computer degree from BINUS International Program, BINUS University in Jakarta, and continued his Master of International Business from Macquarie University, Sydney, Australia. He also attended various education and training courses, including the Sharia Accounting course with Indonesian Institute of Accountant, uh, with the highest score in the course class program. He also passed the Indonesian taxation course, Brevet A, B, and C, with the Indonesian Accountant Association. In the professional world, Pak Yanuar is an active member of the Australian CPA, or Certified Practicing Accountant Professional Association, the largest accountant professional association in Australia. Also CA, or Chartered Accountant Indonesia, the largest accountant professional association in Indonesia, and state registered accountant at the Ministry of Finance of the Republic Indonesia. Away from business, he enjoys exercising such as body combat, morning walk, and yoga, trying various archipelago culinary, making coffee with various aroma from Indonesia, reading self-development books, and listening to music. Okay, without further ado, I would like to welcome Pak Yanuar to deliver the presentation.
Okay, good morning, everyone. And thank you, BINUS University, for this opportunity. Thank you, Pak Edward, for inviting and having me today. Okay, Mbak Dania, could you share the slide, please? Okay, so today, in line with our topic, it's about inspirational talk, especially for accounting and finance study and the future of the study itself. Okay, so the title today would be Accountant, Integrity and Innovations, because I believe all accounting students would work beyond numbers and they will become future leaders in terms of finance, accounting, and business. So it would be a very broad coverage for all the students and all the future accountants as well. So it would be more than what we think today, and because the profession itself is evolving. Next, Mbak Dania. Okay, I think this is a bit about my education background. So every time I attend this kind of forum, this kind of event and seminar, I think I'm a bit behind because my education background is like Bachelor of Computing. So it has nothing to do with accounting, finance, or business. But then I realized that finding a job in IT is kind of like very challenging, but it doesn't mean that finding a job in accounting is not challenging, but both are equally challenging. However, I would see that Indonesia itself, we are in the situation that lacking of accountant and finance practitioner. That's why when I pursued my master, then I enroll in Master of International Business, because I see that the future of the career is more into the business and how to become a future leader. So that's why after I finished my study with Macquarie University, then I graduated from Sydney, Australia. I'm returning home at that time. And it was like a global financial crisis. So I started my career with Deloitte in Indonesia as financial advisor, because I know I was not qualified as an auditor or tax consultant because I have no such background. But in financial advisory, it provides a quite diverse spread of knowledge. So at that time, if you have a bit knowledge in finance, accounting, or business, and a good English writing, you can enroll in the finance advisory work. At that time, I maybe like back then 10 years ago, and merchant acquisition was not as like famous like what we have today. But again, the profession is evolving. The opportunity is there. If we just recently heard about the merger of two giants like Gojek and Tokopedia, so it means that in the next few years, Indonesia and Southeast Asia countries will have a lot of merger and acquisition as well. And this is how our future world is evolving. So everything would merge and they will establish even a bigger giant than before. So I think this is very interesting, in which not many people are aware of this. So this is a bit my education and professional affair. So the next slide, Dania, please. Okay, so there is no magic in my career. I started from as a fresh graduate as an associate. Associate is the lowest level in the career path. Of course, it's slightly higher than an intern, but that is the very basic. So everyone who enroll in Big Four accounting firm, they will start their position as an associate. So I follow all this career path from associate, senior associate, assistant manager, and associate director. So the remaining two career paths that I haven't passed is director and executive director or partner. Executive director is equal to partner, basically. So I think that's almost covering all the career path available. Actually, I just got like double promotion when I was a senior associate, but after that I just follow all the steps in the career path as like from the very basic, from the junior level to the more senior one. And during my career, because of we are working in the industry where we should serve our client, and our clients ranging from banking, consumer product, insurance, infrastructure, multi-finance, P2P, and all of them. Because you know, like the industries in Indonesia are moving very fast. Indonesia is a very fast developing countries. Maybe if you still remember, like 10 years ago, or 10 years or like 12 years ago, mining industry was like a very favorable industry. If you still remember like how they perform, how the stock price of those mining companies are really, you know, really favorable for the investor. But then along the time, the industry is evolving. Sometimes the automotive industry like Astra, and then and all the supporting like consumer products, retail were like very favorable. And then now we are moving to P2P, financial service industry, and so on. So I think if you start your career in Indonesia or other developing countries, it is not a bad choice, because you can still find a lot of things to do, and you can still do a lot to contribute to the country as well. And then because I speak a bit Japanese, so I can say that if you have more language capabilities, it would be a benefit for you. Once I was assigned to Deloitte Japan in Tokyo office back then in 2014, because I speak a bit Japanese, and most of my client portfolio are Japanese as well. And if you start your career, I would say that please don't avoid a difficult client. It is a challenge for you, because when you serve them well, it means like you distinguish yourself with others colleagues. So I think at that time, not many colleagues in Deloitte Indonesia wish to serve Japanese clients. And then, so most of Japanese clients will belong to my portfolio. So I think that's quite an advantage for us if we seize the opportunity and challenge. And then I also manage some of the projects across Asia Pacific. And another good thing about which I'm grateful for is Deloitte is one firm in Southeast Asia, and now we are moving to one firm in Asia Pacific. So what does it mean? It means that practically we can do a lot of work across Southeast Asia. Previously, like my colleagues can work today in Jakarta office, and the day after they can fly to Vietnam, to whatever the project is, because we are serving one of the largest economic community in the world. After the European Union, it should be Southeast Asia. But then with the current condition and the border control, we cannot fly and we cannot work there. But don't worry, because we still can work remotely. Luckily, most of the time zone in Southeast Asia is almost similar, so we can work easily. I have a friend, a colleague now, and he's working with Deloitte Australia. So it's a bit challenging, but then I think it's a good time to move for beyond Southeast Asia. So I think this is about my career journey. Okay, next, Mbak Dania. Okay, when we talk about professional qualification, I believe Binus University is providing its graduates with a very skillful, very good capability in terms of academic, and it's very solid. And I know CP Australia also in having a very close relationship with Binus University, and I believe the reputation, the accreditation of Binus University will equip you with all the thing that you need for your future career. However, when we talk about the global language of business, because the world is getting very, very global, because you can manage the finance, the business, the accounting here from Indonesia, but you can work for European region as well, or American, or whatever it is. So having a professional qualification is like a global language of business. Because I serve many global clients, and I also work together with other Deloitte firms, say Deloitte Japan, Deloitte US, Deloitte UK, and so on. They don't even know like who am I, but when they see the professional qualification, they will feel more comfortable to work with, because they realize that we are talking at the same language. We are having the same or equal understanding. So I think that's the benefit of a professional qualification. Initially, because in Indonesia, back then, maybe like when I was graduated, professional qualification was not that famous, and not many professional bodies providing intensive assistance here in Indonesia. So I didn't really know about what they are. But then when I returned from Japan, in 2015, I realized that in more developed countries like Japan, everyone will have like a professional qualification. And this is kind of like after having a solid university degree, a good qualification, they will pursue for more, because this is kind of like completing each other, completing the bachelor or master degree with a good qualification. Okay, so I think my turning point is when I returned from Japan to Indonesia. So I started my journey with CP Australia back then in 2015. And I choose CP Australia because CP Australia is among the most trustable qualification in the region. It has one of the largest member in Asia Pacific. And CP Australia as well is one of the oldest professional body in the world, and undoubtedly it is the oldest professional body in Australia. CP Australia just got its birthday like a few days ago, like 12 April. It celebrate like 100 more than a century experience. So it operates from 1886. So you can imagine how old CP Australia is. Even it is older than my late grandmother and grandfather, or even from the independence of this country. So undoubtedly, it has successful enough to support its member to develop and to reach the potential. Aside from that, CP Australia provides relevant material in the fast-changing world. So sometimes, even we talk about accounting, even we talk about finance, the updates is very fast. Say like the very basic things for accounting and finance student, if we say like accounting standard that we have today in 2020 is totally different than what we have maybe like 5 years ago or 10 years ago, because due to the implementation of IFRS and so on. And then the type of transaction is also different, not by saying a lot of standard, say the list standard that was issued like maybe 2 years ago due to the pandemic and the crisis situation. The professional body and IFAC issue another guideline. So we are in a very fast-changing world. So we need something that can update us also very fast. And CP Australia does its roles as well to update its member at a very fast pace. Another thing about CP Australia, it facilitates busy people with qualified contents and learning material. So initially, I was doubtful whether I can finish my CP Australia or not, because I need to fly across the globe. I need to fly here and there. And then also I need to, sometimes I need to learn in the airport during the flight from Jakarta to other countries as well. But it facilitates me. Why? Because the material is very clear. CP Australia prepare its material by itself, and they provide a lot of assistance. So CP Australia never changed the exam to make it easier, rather than to equip more for its member to prepare the qualification. And aside from that, CP Australia member needs at least 3 years experience with mentored scheme to convince that the qualified CP Australia member is a good accountant and can lead the finance, accounting, and business in the future. I think this is about the benefit of professional qualifications. Next, Mbak Dania. One of the tagline is CP Australia is progressing the profession. Some people might be aware what is CP Australia is about. CP Australia stands for Certified Practicing Accountant. And then it caters various needs of the business and industry. So this is not a certified public accountant. So we work, most of our members work also for strategy consulting, work for management accountant, and works for various business. So it's not specific to become an auditor, because this is not stands for public accountant. So we work in government, in internal management, and so on. CP Australia has a capstone study in global strategy and leadership as well, which is this is kind of like to equip its member to think strategically and to be a good leader. CP Australia also emphasizes on strategy and decision-making process. So it is like really relevant because when we talk about accounting function, maybe in the next 2 or 5 years, most of them will be performed by robot or artificial intelligence. But the decision should be lying on the top and the heart of its accountant and finance practitioner. So this is not something which can be replaced easily. And then the good thing about CP Australia, aside from the strategy and the leadership, it requires all members as well to have a very solid technical skill. So you can ask all the members, even the old member who wish to pass the exam. It's not easy, and it's never been easy, especially for the financial reporting and then the strategic management accounting. Like you can see, like the fail rate is quite high. It's not that because of CP Australia makes it difficult unintentionally, but it makes it very detailed that every member should study and take their time. Because why? You have the professional designation, but it's not about three alphabet behind your name as a CPA, that's it, but about the value that you can provide to the business. And I think the most important thing right now, CP Australia always updates its syllabus to equip the future generation gap. I think in the next few years, the exams itself would be evolving, as you know, like most of the professional body in the world, like other professional body also put like digital finance, big data analytics. I think this is kind of things that the future accountant and finance practitioner should have the skill and should equip themselves with this kind of soft skill, because being an accountant, you should be able to have a good technical knowledge about accounting, the standard, the finance, the business, but then you also have the capability to catch up with the technology. Okay, next, Mbak Dania. I think this is like my last slide. This is about the professional qualification for qualified talents and more global opportunities. Okay. Now, I do not know, like in Indonesia, how many accounting and finance graduates every single semester, I think. And however, you don't need to worry about it, because the best can enter the best companies as well, or they can start their own business, right? So more companies, more business are looking for ready-to-use talents. So it means when you graduate from the university, and you have a good qualification, it means like it would be easier for the business. And then you have to equip yourself. The mindset that you need to think about is having a professional qualification is not only the benefit for the companies, but it's benefiting for you. Why? Because the CPA membership is attached to yourself. It doesn't belong to the company. Like me, my CPA doesn't belong to Deloitte, but it stick with myself wherever am I. So even though I'm leaving Deloitte, I move to, like, say, other countries, to US, say to America, because CP Australia have the collaboration with and recognition agreement with USCP as well. I can still bring this with me wherever am I. So I think this is the benefit. And then there are thousands graduates at the same time from all around the world. Now, if we see, like, I'm participating active in the recruiting process with Deloitte, and I got so many CV from all graduates from all around the world, say Indonesian graduates from Australia, from UK, from wherever it is, Singapore, and so on. So I think this is kind of thing that you need as a graduate to anticipate and to equip yourself. Okay. And then accountants should be ready for unlimited opportunity. And then the big data analytics, risk management, monetization strategy, and financial efficiency. I think the thing that we need to be aware of that many accountant, many finance practitioners, they just underrated themselves. Why? They think that their role is just to make the financial statement for the company, which is wrong. Say there you are operating like, you know, the unicorn like Gojek or Tokopedia. If I ask you, who should understand the transaction, the profitability, and the future of those unicorn, I would say that should be an accountant and finance practitioner, right? But then this doesn't come up to the mind of many accountants. They just think that they just good in doing the accounting work. They're just good in preparing the financial statements and analyze the number. But in terms of like the fast changing decision making, it should be an accountant and finance practitioner. And then in the future, accountant is the future value enabler and communicator. So accountant or finance practitioner should be a storyteller. So once the CEO comes to everyone, you should be able to tell the story behind the numbers, behind the trends, how to read the data, how to interpret the data. It is the role of the future accountant. And I think to make it relevant with my role in finance advisory, we are always challenged by our clients. We are always requested for advice when they perform the merger and acquisition. And I think this is the thing that makes me very confident with my designation as CP Australia and my background in various industry as well, because being an accountant is someone that is capable. An accountant will depart from the image as bookkeeper, being nerdy behind the computer. So it's not the way how we imagine the old way of an accountant. And then having a professional designation, a good academic background, it means that you stand out among the competition and distinguish yourself. Another thing is, aside from university, I think the distinguished value of CP Australia is integrity. If you see our logo, it is the one and the only professional body to write its motto of integrity. It means what? It means that all CP Australia should implement integrity in all aspects when they perform professional work. Because when we talk about, I think the value that I always push from the beginning of my career is all about integrity. Why? Integrity means to talk straightforwardly, to do what is correct when everyone is not around, and to provide honest review and analysis for the work. So I think if you see many financial scandals, you know, like most of them are prepared by an accountant. There is always an accountant behind them, and this is kind of like the impairment of the profession. While in CP Australia, we believe that we should pursue and achieve the profitability with the integrity. So I think having a professional designation in which push the highest standard of ethic will make you distinguished, because everyone can just write the financial statement. Everyone can input the data to the system. Everyone can make everything looks good. But in terms of integrity, it should be relevant with the professional designation, in which CP Australia will give a sanction and penalty for any breach or violation of ethics and integrity. And the last one, I believe that having a good education in accounting and business, finance as well, you speak a truly global standard. I ask you one last question. If someone wants to invest, like Alibaba or whatever, you just mentioned all the business in the world. What is the first thing comes in their mind when they want to invest in a company? Or say, like, if you have a startup business, if you want to establish your own business, your own kind of like tech company, the first thing that comes to mind is all about the profitability, how they finance, how they maintain their trend, how they prepare the financial statements. I think it's all about profitability. So to close my statement, To excel in the future of our business and our work, we need to strive first about the professional qualification, having a good and solid knowledge about accounting and finance. And the last one is all about profitability, and it's all about money and profitability, and it's all about the investment. So like it or not, if you have the basic knowledge in finance, accounting, and business, you have a good qualification, whatever you are, you work as a professional, you work as an entrepreneur, still you need to really understand about the numbers, about the finance profitability, about the trend in the industry. I think that's to wrap up my topic for today. And I would be more than happy if you have any concern, you have any question, please just let me know. I think that's all from me.
Okay, thank you, Pak Yanuar, for such informative sharing from you. You already explained to us about how the financial industry very interesting, and how to prepare for students in BINUS, to prepare them to maybe fulfill the requirement of the industry. Our next speaker is Ibu Lutfiana Larasati, CPA Australia. She is a climate finance senior analyst in CPI, or Climate Policy Initiatives. Ibu Chika is a senior analyst at Climate Policy Initiative, an analysis and advisory organization with deep expertise in climate finance and policy. At CPI, her work focuses on innovative blended finance and de-risking instruments, land use and energy. It's quite very interesting topic, yeah. Ibu Chika has 9 years of combined experience in the financial industry, including banking, capital market, and consulting. Her expertise covers risk management, investments, capital market, corporate finance, financial and commercial due diligence, and developing economies. Buchika also holds a double master's degree in business management and accounting from Monash University, Australia. She also holds a Bachelor of Business and Commerce, Accounting and E-Business from Monash University, and she is a member of CPA Australia and part of a young professional committee at CPA Australia's Indonesia's office. Bu Chika, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Ibu Hani, and thank you also, Mas Jonathan, as an MC. Firstly, I would like to say thank you for BINUS University as well as CPA Australia for giving me the opportunity to speak and sharing to you today. And I would like to call to Mbak Dania to help to share my PowerPoint today. Thank you, Mbak Dania. So let me reintroduce myself. I'm Lutfiana, but you can call me Chika. The topic for today is beyond accountant. Is if you hear Pak Yanuar presentation today, he also mentioned about beyond accounting, because this is what happened today, right? It's beyond accounting, it's beyond the normal bookkeeping. So today we're gonna expect more than just profits, but other than that, it's beyond profits. Can we go to the next slide? This is a quick introduction, just in case teman-teman di sini ya, all the friends, all the colleagues here doesn't really familiar with CPI. CPI is a climate policy initiative. I'm the senior analyst in CPI Indonesia. This is the analysis and advisory organization that works to improve mostly on the climate related finance in Indonesia. So we are a think tank. We are the NGO. We work closely with PT Sarana Multi-Infrastructure, as well as ministries such as environment, and we also currently working closely with Ministry of Finance and Badan Kebijakan Fiskal to develop a policy paper on the Indonesia Climate Finance Fiscal Framework. So this is the quick introductions of CPI. Can we go to the next slide, please? Thank you. So this is the quick educational background and my professional qualification. I attended Monash University in 2006, Bachelor of Business and Commerce. I took a major in accounting and e-business, and then I continue my study to master degrees in 2009. I took Master of Business and Master of Professional Accounting. When I developed my knowledge in master degree, I also focus on the sustainability, accounting for sustainability. And then after I graduated, I finished my master degree, I also took professional qualification in accounting, because as you can see, I have a very special bond with accounting. I took accounting since bachelor. I continue master in accounting as well. So I choose CPA to equip my my journey as a professional qualification. The reason being is because CPA Australia is the oldest professional body, one of the oldest in the world, and also because simply because I learned in Australia before, so I choose CPA Australia instead of other professional body. And other than that, because previously I work in banks and securities company, that's why I need to take another professional qualification qualified by OJK, Otoritas Jasa Keuangan, underwriting representative, and also securities broker dealer representative. Underwriting representative is basically when you do M&A, if you're working in Big Four like Pak Yanuar in Deloitte. So it's cover IPO, it's cover corporate finance, so everything will be under the license of the underwriting, while the securities broker dealer is when you buy and sell the securities. So if you work as a broker, if you work in securities, you have to have this license in order to be acknowledged by OJK. Can we go to the next slide, please? So this is the career journey. I started my career as an intern back in 2010 when I was finishing my my bachelor and my master. So I did twice of internship. The first one is ANZ. This is a bank, Australia, New Zealand banks. And then I also joined Citi for internship in the control and emerging risk divisions. And then when I graduated for my master, I came back to Indonesia. So I started my career as well in Citi and Ernst & Young. So this is my career in Ernst & Young is kind of similar, like what the path that Pak Yanuar also taking. So I joined transaction advisory services instead of the audit. So what we did is buy and sell, due diligence. There's an M&A. That's true. What Pak Yanuar mentioned earlier, M&A back on those days is not really as a hit like today, because you see today there's a Gojek Tokopedia merger, there's a big Sharia bank merger together into one, so many mergers and acquisition nowadays. But back in 10 years ago, 9 years ago, it's not really as big as today. And then I also assisted in business modeling and valuation. It's basically when you buy things, you need to make sure that you buy it at their best price possible, because here is where your knowledge in accounting and finance is really really needed in this role, because you know, there's a shady cost that you need to identify during the merger and acquisitions. That's what happened during my tenure with EY. So you need to really carefully evaluate everything, not only assets, but there is only off-balance sheet assets that you don't really you're not really aware of, but is already committed under your book, under your balance sheet. And then when I was in EY, my focus, my exposure is mainly in financial industry, energy, and commodities. I previously worked during the merger of some of the banks and insurance, and also the for the energy. I worked for previously I worked for the minority acquisition of the geothermal companies by PLN. And for the commodities, I work on the palm oil and then coal and all that stuff. Because back in 10 years ago, palm oil and coal are very big thing. The profitability, the company shares, everything is on the hike. But you know, there's a shift in the industry, there's a shift in customer demand. So we're gonna see there's the energy is not really brown energy that we're looking at now. So we're also looking at the renewable energy. So back in those days when I was doing the geothermal due diligence during the minority acquisitions, it's kind of challenging because renewable energy is not really was a new thing. So it's kind of different treatment that we have to do as compared to the conventional energy, such as fossil fuel energy. And then after Ernst & Young, I also rejoined Citi. Maybe the colleague here already know about Citibank, but back on those days, I joined Citi Group Securities. So this is the equity brokerage chain in Indonesia. So we focus on the equity broker dealer and also the underwriting. So back on this day, I also assisted on the IPO for the energy company. If you heard about Cikarang Listrindo, that was the IPO that we did back in 2016 in Citi Securities Indonesia. And when I was in Citi, my role was a risk manager. So I was in a committee council of the risk. I cover credit, operational, liquidity, market risk, and also the Asia Pacific portfolio was under my watch on that day. So here I also feel that accounting and beyond accounting, business knowledge is very helpful to assist my role during the risk manager role, because you know, sometimes it's not really the tangible stuff that we see during the transactions, but there's intangible stuff that we need to aware of. For example, when you do the IPO, you not only see how much its company is being priced by the market, but we have to go through the fundamental price of that company, whether the company is really priced at discounted or they're really priced at the premium. And then on Citi as well, I joined the role as a controller. So controller here is basically there's a accounting and finance heavy knowledge in controller role. You need to report to the head office and also the FATCA. FATCA project was the international taxation project for the financial institution back in 2020, if I'm not mistaken, is 2013. So that's the early FATCA project. Citi Indonesia is one of the pilot project. And then during that time, I also activated my associate member of CPA Australia, and I completed my CPA Australia in 2017. And what I felt when I completed my CPA is I was able to join Citi Indonesia Risk Committee Council, because they do have the written rules those that join the risk committee council have to have the professional standard that is acknowledged by CD Indonesia. And CPA Australia is one of the professional standard that could be acknowledged. Hence, I could join the risk committee council during my tenure with CD. So that's the main benefit that I directly feel when I finish my CPA. Because one of the concern is some of the people wonder when you finish your CPA whether you really realize the benefit of having the professional qualification. My answer, my point of view is yes, you can directly and indirectly realize the benefit of having the professional qualifications once you finish your university study. Because yeah, sometimes there's written rule or there's unwritten rule that when you have the professionals qualification, you will be standouts among your colleagues in the office. And next, I recently joined climate policy initiatives last year. The reasons being is because my study was in sustainability, focusing in accounting for sustainability. So it's basically I explore my passion more in both accounting, finance, and sustainability. So in climate policy initiatives, they covers all, because especially the climate policy initiatives, it focused on the climate finance. So I got to lead the projects on the green finance. So for example, we work with Bapeda as well as Pemprov Jakarta for the urban climate finance, as well as we work with the MOF and Fiscal Policy Agency, Badan Kebijakan Fiskal, on the policy documents called Climate Change Fiscal Framework. And also we work with the other institution, National Development Bank, such as World Bank, on development on the risking blended finance for the green projects. So this is the summary of what I've been doing for the past year for climate policy initiatives. Can we go to the next slide, Dania? So here, this is just a visuals of beyond accounting. It's true that accounting, it has to be profitable, but how can we achieve the responsible profit that we will have to return back to the planet Earth? So here, I really me personally, the triple bottom line accounting is very interesting. Aside of the financial benefits, aside of the economical benefits, it has to be a social environmental benefit, especially when Indonesia has pledged to the world in the Paris Agreement that they have to reduce the emission reductions up to 41% with the international aids. And the triple bottom line accounting, it become more important in order for Indonesia to meet their commitment to the world. So basically, the triple bottom line accounting is how you find the optimal impact for the value for money, because most of the case in financing the climate or green projects is not really as cost effective. For example, if you want to finance renewable energy, there will be a new technology that you have to learn. There have to be a new treatment of accounting that you have to do. Maybe the colleagues here and the students here already aware of the PSAK 71, which is aligned with the IFRS 7 on the climate disclosure. So when the accounting standard already set this kind of the reporting that has to account the climate risk into our financial report, then there will be a different treatment to our balance sheet, to our income statement, right? So it has to meet the bottom line, the financial ones, while we also provide the benefits for the environment and social. So this is actually what I've been doing with climate policy initiatives, as well as in the interest of Bappenas and Ministry of Finance on how we achieve the green recovery post-COVID. Because as you may know, right, because of the COVID, all the fiscal capacity, all the money will be gone to the economic recovery. But the thing is how we use that money at the most optimum way to achieve the the Build Back Better, the government program. So other than the traditional accounting, as Pak Yanuar also mentioned earlier, there's a technology that we need to cope. There's a dynamic of the accounting, the regulation that we need to fulfill as accountant. But other than technology, other than that, there's environment and social benefits that currently in the focus of the government to be taken care of, especially during the COVID and post-COVID era. So here, maybe you wonder what are the relationship between the triple bottom line accountant, and CPA Australia. So next slide, please. So this is the relationship between those three: accounting, CPA Australia, and the sustainability accounting. So before you can get your CPA Australia designation, of course, you must finish your university study. So education, of course, BINUS is a high caliber education. We all know that. And then if you plus it with CPA Australia, for example, for your professional qualification, CPA Australia here is the exact example why accountant has to go beyond accountant, because in the study subjects, there's also ethics and governance, and also there's a global strategy that we need to take. So not only financial accounting, not only management accounting or taxation, but there's other than spectrum that we need to cover under CPA Australia, which is me personally, I like this kind of thing, because in the real world, in the real job, you not only see numbers, you only see other than numbers. There's a tangible, there's a intangible factors that you need to be aware of. And then the second one, why I choose CPA Australia, because of the international recognition and reputation, and also one of the oldest professional body in the world. And next one is personalized study, which I really love, and I'm sure that also Pak Yanuar previously mentioned that he really loved the personalized study, because for us previously, previously, and Pak Yanuar as a financial consultant, we have to travel, we have to intensively travel to meet our deliverables and also all the clients. But because of there's a personalized study, we can study during our travel, during our day off. So it really helps for us to get to keep track on the study schedule as well as our work schedule, because main concern is when we are taking CPA Australia while working, it would be challenging. But yeah, I'm not saying no to that. It was challenging taking CPA while working, especially when you're still in the early stage of working. You need to adapt to the workplace, you need to adapt to your friends, to the clients, to your boss. But CPA Australia could be really helpful to you because of personal study, and you can also check with the CPA Indonesia office whether there is something like, I'm not sure, back in those days, we can get something like the cheat sheet from CPA Australia. It's not really cheat sheet, but there's a small cheat sheet that you can use to study. It summarizes the main points of the subject that you were taking that day. And then next, why CPA Australia? Because of the combination of high standard learning and professional experience. This is also to agree to Pak Yanuar point previously, combination of high standard learning, that's true. We have to be honest that the subject is not as easy peasy. You have to really commit your study time. You need to really commit your study plan in order to get your results satisfactory. So you have to really study on that. And also, other than study that we have to fulfill, we have to also fulfill 3 years of professional experience prior to having CPA Australia designation. So once you finish all your study, all your exam, you have excellent exam marks, but you haven't finished your 3 years professional experience, then you cannot really put your CPA Australia under on you to claim CPA Australia designation on you, because you have to fulfill the both learning standard and also the 3 years professional experience. And also lastly, CPA Australia has a wide network, so definitely when we're in the working environment, networking is a key. Not only you need the professional qualification, you need a good marks during your university, and also you need networking to help you grow, to help you connect with with what's happening in the world right now. And here, because CPA has CPD, continuous professional development, and also support from representative office, so you'll get the benefits of the networking from CPD and also the support from Australia office in Indonesia. Can we go to the next slide? So here, basically, why it matters, why the professional qualification matters. Because the first one is, I mentioned earlier, the accounting, the world is shifting, so we have to really adapt to the changing world. So it has to be beyond accountant. So there's also various career that we can tap, not only accountant. You can be a CFO. CFO is a standard, is a normal career path for accountant. You can be a CFO, you can be an IB, investment bankers. You can also join a think tank, and also entrepreneurs, because nowadays everyone wants to build a business, right? But if you want to build a business, of course you need money, you need a cash flow to keep the business going, and also you need to you have to be going concern. You cannot just build a business for 2 years and then just close it down. You need to make a profit in a sustainable basis. And then second one, why it matters, because it makes you stand out from your colleagues, and also it broadens your opportunities. By having the qualifications, you've been seen as a legit individuals with that, because you're already certified by the professional bodies. And also by taking the professional qualification, it shows that you are committed, and also you put your dedication on your career, on yourself. You invest on yourself, so that's the most important thing, right? Investment is a good thing in money, but also don't forget to invest in yourself. Study and keep learning. And also it's self-fulfillment and accomplishment. You're gonna feel accomplished, you're gonna feel empowered by having this qualification. And lastly, global outreach, and CPA Australia is proven as having a global outreach and also a wide networks that the benefit, you can feel it directly. So you don't have to wait to realize the benefit of having the global qualification matters, professional qualifications. So I think this is my last slide. So just to close my presentation is the BINUS as a high caliber university, make the most of it. take the most of it. And also, once you take the most of it, don't forget to also still learning to advance yourself, invest in yourself, taking professional qualifications, so you can realize it in your career. You can boost your career. You can stand out among others. Yeah, that's my last statement. Thank you, Ibu Henny. I give the floor back to you.
Thank you, Bu Chika. Very inspiring sharing from Bu Chika. So students, we are lucky today to have two speakers with different career paths. The one is Pak Yanwar with technology, how technology impacts in our professional. And Bu Chika already shared about how accountants also can be participate in sustainability development, which is also our big concern or the world concern. But both underline the same thing that you need to prepare and you also need a qualification. Yeah, and CPA Australia offer the good qualification for you to be prepared as a future accountant. I think that's wrap up our discussion today. Before questions and answers, I will give the opportunity to Ibu Dania to introduce briefly about CPA Australia. Bu Dania, please.
Thank you, Bu
Is
Henny.
yours.
Thank you, Bu Henny. Thank you also, Pak Edward, Mbak Chika, and Pak Yanuar for the great sharing earlier. Teman-teman, friends, let me share my screen first and introduce you a little bit about CPA Australia. So Mbak Chika and Pak Yanuar had talked about CPA Australia, this and that. So I think this is a good timing for me to introduce you to CPA Australia. My name is Dania, by the way. I'm the Business Development Manager of CPA Australia, Indonesia Office Representative. CPA Australia, CPA stands for Certified Practicing Accountant. So the P in CPA is practicing and not public. Therefore, we are very different with IAP or CPA Indonesia because we are practicing accountant, not public accountant. Why? Because in Australia, there's a non-discriminatory law that says that all accountants has to be in the same, in one organization, one professional body, and therefore CPA Australia exists. Yes, we are the International Professional Certification for Accountants. We were born 135 years ago, so we celebrate the 135th anniversary this year. And why do accountants need international certification? Because profession of accountant is like doctors, lawyers, or pilot. You have to have the education to support your career, but it will be an added value for you if you have the international certification, because it will be a global recognition for you. And we are also a member of IFAC, International Federation of Accountants. Currently, we have 160,000 members globally. So the name is Australia. We have the Australian name, but the recognition is global. So same like Garuda Indonesia, for example. It has Indonesia in it, but it doesn't mean that it only flies in Indonesia, right? So currently, we have 19 offices globally. And 25,000 members in senior leadership positions. In Indonesia itself, we started about 10 years ago. This year, we are celebrating our 10th anniversary. Currently, we have around 450-ish members in Indonesia. About 70-80% of them are in C-level. So why CPA Australia, why accountants need to have a CPA Australia certification? Because it is a global recognition to your profession. Because currently with the effect of globalization, the profession of accountant becomes a profession that is high in mobility. Accountants in Indonesia can work remotely for a company in Singapore, for example, or in Vietnam, in Australia, and vice versa. So there has to be one global recognition that says that you possess this skill, the right skill to be given the right responsibility. We also promote continuous learning. So accountants are not professions that you, after finishing 4 years in college, and then that's it. But it has to be, your learning process has to be continuous, because 5-10 years ago we could never imagine that we could do grocery shopping at home using our smartphone cashless, and it is delivered by the door in an hour. Who knows what's going to happen in the next 5-10 years that will affect new innovations that will affect the accounting sector. One thing that I would like to highlight here is that CP Australia designation is equals to postgraduate degree. So you have to finish your bachelor's degree first before enrolling to CP Australia program. There are 2 ways to obtain CP Australia designation. The first one is what Mbak Chika, Pak Yanuar, and most of our members globally do. It's self-study, online self-study. So you will be given all the online and offline materials, the case study, simulation, etc. And then you don't have to sacrifice your career. That's the beauty of CP Australia program, and that's what Mbak Chika also said. You do not have to sacrifice your career in order to pursue CP Australia designation. So you can still do your full-time job there. By self-study, you are given 3 to 8 years to finish the program. It depends on your pace. Most of our members finished in 3-4 years time. But also, if you feel like, oh, I don't think I can do the self-study online thingy, I have to be in a classroom with a lecturer or instructor, with some friends to bounce ideas and everything, then we have a full-time program in Singapore and in Malaysia. It's a 2 semesters classroom study, structured with lecturers and everything. And it will cover all the CP Australia material. So it's only 2 semesters, it's 1 year. So I think for you who are going to graduate, if you are thinking about taking a gap year, this is a good way to spend your gap year. So it's not doing gap year for nothing, but doing gap year while adding value for yourself in order to boost your career in the future. Currently in Indonesia, we have more than 20 partner universities across Indonesia. Of those 20, 6 are already accredited, UI, BINUS, Swiss German University, Tarumanegara, Trisakti, and Perbanas Institute. So what does that mean, being a student of BINUS compared to being student of other universities, other non-accredited universities? That means you have the privilege, and I will talk about this later, but you have the privilege of being an associate member of CPA Australia upon graduation if our assessment team sees that you already took some of the courses, specific courses in BINUS. We also have the online resources for students. So if you go to our website and create an online, create a free account in our website, you can access a professional resources section. It's free. It's open for students, for lecturers also. There are journal reports, article about various topics in accounting. Not all are open for public for free, but still you can use it to get your assignment done or to get your presentation materials done. Also, we do CP Australia ambassadors. Each year we select about 15 to 20 CP Australia ambassadors from various universities in Indonesia, and they became a group of students, accounting students, that do the student workshop, and also network with our members, get a mentor, etc. Now, if I can share you just at a glance, quickly about CP Australia program, this is what the program looks like. So your application will come here, and then there are 2 levels in CP Australia: the foundation level and the professional level. There are 6 exams that you have to pass in foundation level. After that, after you passing the foundation level, you will get ASA or Associate CPA Australia designation behind your name. And then after that, you go to the professional level. There are 6 modules that you have to do here. And then you will become the full CPA Australia members. Like Mbak Chika, like Payanuar, they are here. They already finished the foundation and the professional level. But if you're a Binusian, if you come from Binus, if our assessment team deemed you eligible to become associate, then you can go straight here instead of going through the foundation level. That means upon graduation, if you could submit your transcript and certificate to myself or my colleagues, Mas Putra, then we will do the assessment. Then you can use the ASA. It depends on the assessment outcome, yeah. But then you can use the ASA Australia behind your name. It's an added value for you. So of all thousands of sarjana ekonomi that BINUS produced, or all universities produced that year, you can add ASA Australia or Associate CP Australia behind your name upon graduation. Also for Bapak Ibu dosen, Bapak Ibu, we have a membership pathway agreement with IAI, Ikatan Akuntan Indonesia. If you are a member of IAI and has the Piagam Negara Accountant with code D and going through the Una Dasar Una Profesi, you can just submit your documents to us and you can directly become CP Australia member without any exam. If you are if you graduated from the year 2004 onwards and you have Piagam Negara Accountant certificate with code of RNA, you can only do 2 exams in order to become CP Australia members. I think we will talk about this with Bapak Ibu dosen in more details in the coming upcoming events. So that's it from me about CP Australia. You have the QR code there. If you have questions, if you would like to know more about CP Australia, the benefit of being a Binusian when entering CP Australia membership, you can contact me. Just scan the QR code, put your details there, and I will contact you back. Or you can reach me by email or by phone or WhatsApp anytime. Thank you. Thank you, Bu Henny. I give the session back to you.
Yeah, thank you, Budanya, for the explanation about CPA Australia, not only for the students, also for the lecturer. Okay, we will have a questions and answer session today. We will have one question and answer session for the first time for three questions. I don't have any questions submitted in the chat box, so maybe I will have. Oh, okay, there is one questions. Where is it from? From Jonathan. Jonathan, are you going to ask directly? Jonathan Gautama. Jonathan Gautama.
Ya, halo Bu. Halo Bu Dania. I want to ask something. Is there any acceleration program for Master of Accounting graduate in Indonesia, especially in Binus University, when carrying out the CPA Australia education? Because I have some some research from Trisakti University. When we took the master degree from Trisakti, we only need to add one year to get the CPA education.
Okay.
And the question is, when we graduate from Master of Accounting from Bina Nusantara, is there any acceleration program for the CPA education, especially for CPA Australia?
Thank
Yeah.
you for the question, Jonathan.
Yeah.
I think you got us mixed up with CPA Indonesia because currently CPA Australia has no partnership with any of the master program in Indonesia,
Yeah.
whether it is state or private universities. So no, I don't think if you take the master's program in Trisakti, it will make you easier to enter CPA Australia. I think it's for CPA Indonesia or IAP, while we are very different with IAP. Currently, we have the relationship with Trisakti, but for the bachelor program only. Same with BINUS. So if you ask about can you do master's program and CPA Australia program together? Yes, you can, but not here. If you go to Australia, then there's, if I'm not mistaken, it's Deakin, Macquarie, where else? Yeah. There are list of universities lah. There are list of universities that I will find the list and talk to you later. But there are list of universities who offers embedded master's program. So you're doing the master 2 year, the master program for 2 years. The first year you do the curriculum for the university, and then the second year you do the CPA Australia curriculum. So you will be graduated with double degree, for example, Master of Professional Accounting and CPA Australia degree. But that's so far is in Australia and in Hong Kong and China, but not in Indonesia. We have no partnership yet with any of the master program in Indonesia. So I hope it helps.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, is that mean if we already graduate from Master of Accounting in Indonesia, we need to took the program normal from the beginning? Oh, okay. Thank you, Bu
Yes.
Dania.
So what we look for when you apply for CPA Australia membership, we only look at the bachelor's program, at your bachelor's transcript and also certificate. If you graduated from accredited universities during your bachelor's degree, accredited by CPA Australia, yeah, and then you are eligible to go straight to associate level. But if you did not graduate from the accredited universities, then you have to go from foundation level. So the bachelor's is the bachelor's transcript and certificate that can make or break the decision. Not the master's degree. Even though if you have master's or PhD, we will take into consideration, but still the two documents that are required are transcript and certificate of bachelor's program.
Okay, thank you, Bu Dania.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Good day.
I think it's clear, Jonathan. Yeah. The next questions from Archie. Please, Archie, you can ask directly to the speaker.
Okay, thank you, Bu Heni. Hello, Pak Yanuar and Bu Lutfiana. I'd like to ask a question related to accounting profession in digital transformation era. How far is the gap between accountant and technological growth in the age of digitalization? What do you think of this phenomena? Because based on the information from several studies that I got, there has currently been a job polarization with significant changes that will cause disruption in the future. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Archie. Maybe Pak Yanuar first.
Okay, thank you. Archie, can you mention what does you mentioned before about the job polarization before answering your question?
For me, job polarization is some kind of phenomena that happen between the content and the sustainability growth of technology. For example, in the 4.0 era, there has been disruption in many professions, and accountant is one of the vulnerability profession in the future. And I think, what do you think of this phenomena? Because as a top management, I think you should know that accountant have learned a new skills, or maybe what must they do to not to cause the disruption in the future. Thank you.
Okay, Archie, I think to make it clear with some concrete example, say I get what you mean. I mean, like, yes, the profession is evolving. Say like this, maybe 20 years ago, when we perform an audit for financial institution, we can see the bank notes, we can see the money, right? But then now everything is in a digital form. Say like, we have like e-wallet, like OFO or GoPay or Shopee Pay. Actually, the question is how to audit the significance of those invisible and intangible e-wallet, right? I mean, like in that case, an accountant should be able to perform an audit based on the risk assessment and the technology assistance, because we cannot touch the cash again. We cannot touch the money, but we can understand the flow, and we need to understand. That's why I think of the in terms of the accountant profession, in the next few years, we will have like risk, technology, and digital finance, and the disruption in their syllabus. I think that's to close the gap. At the moment, CP Australia equip its member, though this is voluntary, through the micro credentials like risk management, governance, and regulation, and then technology in its use in finance, and data interpretation, visualization, data analytics, and so on. So I think I believe CP Australia will include this in the next few years. So it will close the gap, because when you perform the audit or any analytic, you cannot just do like in the old way or like our mother and father, because everything is in digital form, and we need to close that by equip our member with advanced um, lesson. But I believe Australia is one of the most developed country to render such update in the industry. I think that's my view on this.
Thank you, Pak Yanuar. Ibu Cika?
Thank you, Ibu Henny, and thank you, Archie, for the questions. Maybe just to add from Pak Yanwar's point, that's right. There's a shift in accounting world. It's not only the accounting itself, but also the advisory services. So what CPA can do is now to equip their members and also to go beyond the traditional accounting. That's why this is one of the point that I mentioned earlier, that we have to go beyond a normal accountant, just beyond the traditional accountant. You have to tap on, you have to understand how the technology works, instead of seeing it as a destructive, but you can see it as an opportunity as well, right? So instead of you're doing the normal bookkeeping, the manual bookkeeping, technology instead can help you to do the bookkeeping, and also to ensure that the automation is aligned with the auditing, for example, the auditing standards that's currently being mentioned, and also to close the gap is by learning, by emerging with the technology itself. So instead of just accounting 101, accounting the normal accounting, you have to adapt to the new regulation. You have to adopt to the new technology and how the technology can really assist instead of disrupt your work. I think that's my point to add. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Bu Cika. I think it's clear for Archie.
Yes, thank you, Pak Yanuar and Bu Lutfi.
Okay, I have two questions in my private chat box. The first one is, as an accountant, maybe this is for Pak Yanuar and Bu Chika ya. As an accountant, do we need to have IT skill to support our career? If yes, to what extent IT skill we need? That's the first questions. And then the second questions is, can you share tips and tricks to pass the CPA Australia? Is it better to work first and then doing the CPA Australia later, or doing right away after graduations? What is the best time to start? Maybe based on the experience of Pak Yanuar and Bu Chika. Maybe this time Bu Chika dulu.
Thank you, Ibu Heni, and thank you for the questions. For the first questions, whether we have to have the IT knowledge, me personally, yes. Actually, I took e-business minor during my bachelor, but it's not extensively as Pak Yanwar. I believe that Pak Yanwar has more extensive IT knowledge than I do. But you know, in work as accountant or more than accountant, my view is not, it doesn't have to be very extensive IT knowledge as IT consultants, for example, but as long as you know how the flow works, you know, what is the input, what is the process, and what is the output. Because as an accountant, you need to define what's your input in order to get your result, your expected results. So how the data works, how the flow of the data is more important than knowing a very extensive IT knowledge. And then for the second questions, the best approach, me, myself personally, I took it right away after I finished schools while working. So that's the best approach for me because, you know, by doing it parallel while you're working, once you finish your exam, your prerequisites, all your subjects, and then you complete the 3 years professional program, you can get your CPA designation right away. So it saves time, right? Instead of doing it separately. Thank you. Maybe over to Pak Yanwar.
Yeah. Please, Pak Yanwar.
Bu Heni, basically, say like Chika and me is like all generations, I guess. But maybe like 5 to 6 years ago, CP Australia Foundation requires like IT or information system subject as a requirement, and they remove it because they have included it as a part of foundation. Foundation of accounting. But then why? Because I believe that all universities like BINUS, which has been accredited and collaborated with CP Australia, has a solid basis of accounting information systems. Like Ibu Chika mentioned about the input and the output. So I believe it's clear enough about the IT. You don't need to worry once you know, BINUS is very famous for its IT and technology. So I believe that's a image also, and that syllabus also adapted for the accounting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one thing.
Yeah.
And for taking the program together, I guess it really depends. But whenever you can, getting CPA is not instant work. So you need some experience, a breadth of knowledge and everything. You can take it together because it's like useless just to go at once. While you can, if you have time, you can having it little by little until one day you will be qualified. It's not like done and foil and it doesn't work like that. So what Ibu Chika mentioned is really clear on this. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Pak Yanuar. We already ran out of time, but there is one question coming. Maybe this is for Bu Chika. The students asked about, do CPI also working for private or companies, not for the governments?
Yes, actually, CPI also advising the private sectors. The main sectors that we provide advisory to is to the banks, because we currently work with OJK for the Sustainable Finance Roadmap Phase 2. So we advising the banks on how to integrate the ESG into their risk assessment. So not only advising government, but also the private sectors.
Okay. Thank you so much, Bu Chika and Pak Yanuar. I think it's time we cannot have another questions and answers. So let me wrap up our discussion today. First, the opportunities for professional accountants in the fast-changing world is we need to focus on value and as a storyteller and communicate the number. While Pak Yanuar sharing accounting opportunities in how technology changing financial and business industries, Uchika also shared how accountants is also can participate in sustainability, green business, green finance, environment, and social accounting, which is also a big concern in the world. So the students, you can choose what path you would like to take. There are two examples path in industry trend that is Pak Yanuar and Buchika share. However, both speakers underline the same thing that we as an accountant can participate more in this work more than a bookkeeper, but someone who can tell the story behind the number, communicates the numbers, and of course how to assign those numbers or measure intangibles, for example, the environment and climate change. Both also find professional certifications, for example, CPA Australia is a good choice to equip you as a prepared future accountant. Okay, thank you all. On behalf of accounting program, Binus University, I'm glad to have you all. I would like to thank once again to our speaker for your wonderful presentations and also addressing questions from our students. So maybe your presentation can open their horizons. Also, I would like to thank to CPA Australia as our sponsor in this seminar, Pak Reza, Pak Putra, Bu Dania, and also all the committee that make this seminar happen very smooth. Last but not least, to our participants, our students, thank you for joining with us. Hope you enjoy this session and it will be benefited for your future career. See you in the next seminar. I will return it to Jonathan. Jonathan?
Hello, Miss Henny.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, everyone, that I got a connection problem. So the Q&A session is also the end of this mirror session. But before everyone leave this mirror session, please kindly fill in the evaluation form that's available in the chat box, and maybe you can fill the evaluation form until 11:53. Then we will have a photo session together. Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. At this section, we're going to have some photos. Please open your camera so we can take the photo clearly. There are 11 slides. Okay, we start from the first slide. 3, 2, 1. Okay, now on the second slide. 3, 2, and 1. Now on the third slide. On 3, 2, and 1. Okay, I think that's enough for the photo session. Thank you, everyone.
The end of this photo session is also the end of our today's seminar session. At the end, I want to say the biggest thanks to Mr. Yanuar and also Ms. Lutfiana, Ms. Dania, Ms. Henny, and all participants that have attended this seminar session. From behalf of Counting Binus University and also CPA Australia, we want to apologize if there's any mistake, and we hope that we can see you on the next event. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Edward. Thank
Thank you,
you,
Bu
Bu
Dania.
Heni.
Thank you semua.
Thank you semua.
Bu
Makasih,
Heni,
Pak
thank
Edward.
you. Thank you banget.
Bu Heni,
Dan
Teman-teman
Pak
panitia.
Cika, makasih.
Thank you.
Pak Reza,
Oke, Mas.
Pak Yanuar, Bu
Pak Yan.
Cika, Pak Putra, thank you very much.
Makasih, Pak Edward.
Thank you. Bapak Ibu dosen juga yang sudah hadir. Thank you. Bapak Ibu dosen, para mahasiswa.
In live, Pak Edward.
Ya, thank you. Dipersilakan,
Thank you.
Pak.